Today we're at Wold Farm Fishery and I'm going to show you a little video clip how simple it is and how effective it is fishing just micros and expander. It's a brilliant method to fish as we're coming into spring out of winter. Brilliant on all commercials up and down the country, and I'm going to fish two lines so I can rest one while I'm fishing the other. I think we'll get a little bit pestered by carp, but that's the nature of the beast. I'm going to add a little bit of super crushed green as well, putting a little bit of ground bait in with the micros to kick it off, which I think just spread a lot of particle bait, fine bait that just keeps them in the area, and if I think I need to, I'll top it up during the session. It's a simple approach, fishing two lines, and also I'll show you how to feed two lines in one go. So let's get set up and see what we can catch. Before I start, there's my bait that I've got for the session. Very simple. Super crushed green, which I'll feed two balls that size to kick it off. Only two, because that just breaks down. It's such a lot of particles that puts into the water. Maybe a good handful of the fishery dampened micros. So it'll be a ball and some micros to kick it off. And I've got my Sonia Baits Pro expanders, 4 mils and 6 mils. And I've got in here a few red maggots, but I'll show you a good tip with those later. Very simple, easy days fishing and not a lot of cost really. So let's get on and catch some fish. I'm just fishing dampened fishery micros and a 4 mil Sonia Baits Pro expander on the hook. I've got some 6 mils done up as well. I've got two lines, one's a 6/6, so that's probably about 10 metres. And I've got one at 13. I've cupped in a ball of super crushed green, Sonia Baits super crushed green, on both lines with some dampened fishery micros in there, just to show the approach to fishing. We're just coming into spring now out of winter. It works on all commercials. There we go. Hopefully another skimmer. Very good way of catching these silverfish in these commercials. Any commercial up and down the country. They love the micros, love a little bit of ground bait. Obviously you've got to be careful, you may still get the odd carp. It can be lovely fishing. Now, £1.5, £2 skimmer, or bream as I would call it. But by fishing two lines, I've got another place to go. There we are, lovely. Lovely fish. Still very cold to fish because like I say, we're just coming out of winter now. Beautiful fish. A very simple method of fishing. Dampened micros, a little bit of ground bait, a 4 and 6 mil expander on the hook. Let's try a 6 mil expander this time. A little bit bigger bait. Also, where I've got two lines, I fed two lines at the start. Every 10 minutes, 10-15 minutes, I'll double pot, where I'll fill the pot. It's a medium size, one of their flexi pots, the Matrix flexi pots. So I'll fill it to the top, and I'll put the extra couple of sections on and tap some out there, and then come back and tap some in here. So I've got the two lines on the feed. Even though I'm only fishing one line, I've got somewhere to go. where I can rest one line and go on to the other line. Or if I don't catch on one line, then I can look on the other line and see if the fish are out there. That may be, no, I thought that might have been a carp this time, but no, I think it's another skimmer. Lovely fishing. That is what I call simply lovely. He's over 2 pounds, probably 2.5 pounds. And that was on a 6mm. Try it again. But what I'll do this time, I'll just show you. I'll fill the pot. I'll fill it right up. When I double feed, so I'll go out to where I'm fishing at the moment, which is, tap some in there, and then I've got half a pot left. It just saves time. I can just keep the line I haven't had a look on yet, my 13-metre line. Just tap the rest of the pot out there, going in. So I've fed both lines at the same time, even though I'm only fishing one, I've got somewhere to go if this line doesn't produce. But at the moment, I'm catching here, so I'll stick with it. If it starts to drain a little bit, then I'll go and have a look on that longer line. The rig I'm using, I've got 0.16 main line to an 0.12 hook length and a 16 hook. I've got a bulk of shots, probably 10 inches from the hook, and one dropper, 111 dropper, which is probably 4 inches from the hook. The float I'm using, one of my MP4s, 4x14. It's probably about 4 foot deep. And with the bulk, basically what I'm doing, I'm lowering it in as the float weighs out, lift it, hold it, and then gently lower it into position. And so I can see the bite straight away. Let's give it a go and catch some fish. Well, I've caught a few skimmers on this line, and it just seems to just slowed a little bit. So I think I'm going to have a look on the longer line. I was saying that, I just got one. But I will. I'll couple a few pellets there and I'll have a look on that longer line. Just give it a little bit of a rest. It's a lovely way of fishing this though, very simple. Beautiful fish. So I'll fill the pot up this time, because what I'll do, I'll just feed the short line that I'm going off of, and just do the reverse. Just make sure I put a little bit of feed there. While I'm fishing the other line. If I don't catch on this further line, I'll give it about 15 minutes, even if I don't catch, just to rest that other line. An indication there straight away, just a little touch, it was a little line now. And if they're really feeding well, the fish, I expect this line to go straight away, but obviously it's still cold, so it's just starting to get a bit warmer. Little lift's enticing to take the hook bait. And have a little touch then. Oh, very finicky, very shy bites. Oh, that lifted it, that did. Thought that might have been a carp at first. There's quite a few bubbles coming up. There's another skimmer, and that's on the longer line. It just shows you can feed 2 lines and you catch fish on both. Similar stamp fish. Nice fish. They are very cold though, very cold. Well, they make my hands feel cold anyway. So what I'll do this time, I'll just top the pot up with the micros and feed the short line on the way out. So I can feed both lines in one hit. And obviously I haven't got a breakdown because I'm on the same line. My short line's in exactly the same line as my 13 metre line. So I'll just tap a few micros in there. And then the rest I can pop in on the 13 metre line. So I fed both lines in one go. Well, we caught a few fish, and I said earlier about a little tip I'd show you about these red maggots. And what it is, when hooking a pellet, you don't feel the sharpness of the hook. And sometimes you might bump a couple of fish, think, oh, I bumped that fish, but it could be your hook. And why I have the red maggots on the side, even though I'm not using the hook, I can just offer one up to the hook and just try the hook in it. And that's perfectly sharp. Just by getting a maggot, pushing it over the point of the hook, you can still feel the sharpness. Whereas if I get a pellet, which I'm hooking on, the pellet is very soft, and even if the hook was blunt, it would just go into it and I wouldn't feel any difference. But by having those maggots there and offering to the hook after you've caught maybe a dozen fish or so, just try a maggot just to see. Very good when punch fishing as well, if you're not fishing any maggots on the hook, or even if you're fishing paste. Just to try your hook, just to see the sharpness. Very good tip, and it is very well worth just having a few maggots just to try your hook point after so many fish. This is lovely now. They've just settled down on the inside line, but I've had a lot of trouble from carp because it's just starting to get warmer now, but it is a lovely way to fish this. Lovely fish here at Wold Farm. These skimmers are just unreal. I call them no-tail skimmers. Some people call them bream because they have no tail, but it's like that in a lot of commercials. But it's superb fishing. Especially when you're catching fish that size, each put in. But obviously I started catching them and then the carp moved in. It's a job to avoid the carp. You just got to catch them in between the skimmers. Well, I've had quite a few nice skimmers, but I'm getting pestered at the moment by carp. And the trouble is, when the carp start feeding, they obviously push the skimmers out. I've got 12 hook length. It's amazing. That's a Matrix hollow core 10 to 12. How much stick you can give the fish? And you think they'll break you, but it's unreal. It's all good fun though, all good fun. Let's try and get him first time he comes up. Try to avoid these. There we go. That's about the 13th or 14th carp I've caught. Lovely common. But we don't want them. There you are, that's a skimmer this time, or some of you would call the bream. We're getting too many carp now. I just feel that they're upsetting the bream, even though I've rested it and gone to the other line. But that's a nice fish to end on. Another, I'll call that a bream. Some people will call it a skimmer. Lovely fish to end on. Let's put him in there, get packed up, and let's have a look what we've caught. Well, there we go, lovely net of skimmers. Just fishing 2 lines, very simple, very effective, micros and expanders. Hope you enjoyed it. Get on the bank and give it a go. Any commercial up and down the country, all year round, but mainly very good as we're coming out of winter into spring. Give it a go. Catch you on the bank.